Hello everyone, welcome to this market commentary video from Optimal Ninja. Just a reminder, we're using market playback, we're not calling live trades. The purpose is to build a narrative for the first couple of hours and examine some possible entries and exits. As always, we're using the US Equities RTH session, so for those of you in the US, this is 0830 Eastern Time. For the purposes of this video, we're using Optimal Renko custom bars with a fixed setting of 25 ticks and a 1-tick breakout requirement. And most importantly, all our bar types feature real opens, which means they work correctly with order flow tools and give you greater confidence in backtesting. The bars are coloured by Optimal Vision, our rolling volume profile tool, and the horizontal lines across the chart are plotted by Optimal Pivots, which appends market statistics to your charts derived from 10 years backtesting. So without further ado, let's have a look at this morning's session. As you can see, the week opened almost exactly on the central pivot. Above we have a 66% probability of touching the prior close and a 41% probability of touching the prior high. Below, S1 is touched 75% of the time and the prior low is touched 66% of the time. So on the face of it, a short strategy might appear more applicable here, but it's important to remember that high probabilities do not confer certainty. A simple way of remembering this is to apply what I call the airline test. Would you board an airline that had a 75% chance of landing safely? Not unless you're Bruce Willis in Die Hard 2. And that's how we should think about probabilities in trading. We can't just short because we see higher probabilities to the downside. We need to wait for a valid setup in that direction and target this area once we enter, managing our risk as we go. We also need to remain alert to the fact that this day may be one of the 25% of days that does not reach S1 but rallies instead. Before we begin a bar-by-bar analysis, a word of explanation of the process we're adopting. In my view, every bar tells a story, and when we stitch those stories together, we create a narrative of the market. And when we have a credible narrative that we believe in, that's when we can make trades. In other words, any trade that we take needs to be supported by a powerful backstory. Without a backstory, the trades become random, and I would not advise random trading. So let's begin our narrative. As mentioned in a previous video, I'm generally looking to enter off reversal bars and not trend bars. Entering on trend bars often means chasing the market when a trend has become apparent to everyone, and of course the longer a trend continues, the greater the probability of a reversal bar. Bar number 3 was the first reversal bar of the day. It's a strong downside Optimal Vision colour and it breaks the midpoint of the session, that's this white line. The midpoint of the session is always an important level to follow. Reason being, it's chart independent. It doesn't matter whether you're charting Renkos, 1-minute bars or hourly bars, the midpoint of the range is a matter of fact for all market participants, which makes it a powerful level to track. So always take note of how price reacts at the range midpoint. So given our bias to the downside, bar 3 was a possible short with the stop above the 2-bar point of control. There's always the possibility of a bounce off the midpoint here, but since we're only about 3 or 4 minutes into the session, the midpoint is less relevant than later on. But certainly if we did have strong upside action off the midpoint here, I would close that short quickly. Bar number 5 is a weak reversal bar that sits just below midpoint. The 2-bar point of control sits towards the top of the bar, which is also a warning sign, so this is definitely not a long. If I had an open short here from bar 3, I would hold through this reversal bar and leave my stop unchanged. Bar number 6 is a strong short entry. If you hadn't taken bar 3, this would be the next opportunity. It's a strong down bar, it reverses off midpoint, it closes back below the round number level, and the 2-bar point of control forms a micro double top with bar 4. All of these are short indications. Then we have the rapid sell-off to S1. Although, as I've said, I'm not personally a fan of entering off trend bars, given the strength of the prior short setup on bar 6 and the exit target of S1, you could have taken these as shorts. But I would enter on pullbacks into these bars to get better value on entries rather than chasing the market down. Bar 12 is clearly a weak reversal bar, setting up a with trend entry on the following bar. However, bar 13 is not a great entry as it's a shaven bar. A shaven bar is a bar without a wick. These are often wholly or partially filled very quickly, and so it always seems counterintuitive to me to take them, so I generally stand aside in these instances. Bar 15 is a stronger up bar, but is likely to fail because the prior low and round number below are likely to act as magnets for price. Bar 16 forms a micro double top with bar 14, but it's probably only a 1-bar scalp, so I wouldn't take that. Bar 18 is a weak reversal up bar, and the close sits near this resistance level, so it's likely to fail. And for similar reasons, bar 20 is not strong enough to consider either. Bar 21 is a good example of a bar that can suck in the unwary. Certainly it's a strong bull bar, but in order for this trade to come good, we have to break through this prior micro double top off this point of control area. If that level is defended again, we have a good chance of continued downside action, which is what happened. Given the strong sell-off earlier in the day, the absence of strong reversal bars, the failure of these reversal bars to make any headway, I would not be keen on taking that as a long, even more so because it's a trend bar. By this time we're an hour into the session, and having touched the high probability levels with a 4 to 5R gain, I would quit at that point. If you can maintain focus, or if you've just had a strong cup of coffee, you might want to stick around for longer and trade some of these scalps, but if it's a sunny day I would advise saving your energy and going outside. So on that note, I'll sign off. I hope you find this video useful. My name's Richard, it's been a pleasure to present to you today.